Alright, fine. Here's what happened this week in North Carolina politics. The biggest news this week continued to be Republican Judge Jefferson Griffin's attempts to overturn the election that he lost to Democratic Justice Allison Riggs for the North Carolina State Supreme Court. Demonstrators spent all day on Tuesday in front of the North Carolina Supreme Court reading aloud the names of 60,000 voters who Jefferson Griffin and the state Republican Party are trying to retroactively cancel. The group of votes that Jefferson Griffin and the state Republican Party are trying to challenge now is focused on active duty military members and their families serving overseas. Griffin and the Republicans are also not challenging all votes in the election, but only those in the early voting and mail-in voting parts, not those from Election Day, because Election Day voters tend to lean Republican. Look, if this whole thing seems totally bananas town to you, it should. The logic is completely beside the point. The Griffin campaign and the state Republican Party are just looking for any argument that any judge will take to overturn an election, and they don't care how it's done. The Federal Department of Transportation announced this week that they are sending an additional $353 million to North Carolina and Tennessee to repair transportation infrastructure damaged during Hurricane Helene. That's on top of $167 million they sent at the very end of last year. A lot of that funding is going to go to repair I-40, where it crosses into Tennessee, which is still closed right now. I-40 is a major economic artery for all of Western North Carolina. It's critical for long-term recovery, but it's also a major engineering challenge, which requires funding of that kind of scale. The rest of the money is going to the Forest Service and the Park Service to repair a bunch of bridges and roads and that sort of thing, including the Blue Ridge Parkway. Brad Briner, the new Republican state treasurer who just won election back in November, announced this week that the state health plan, which covers about 750,000 North Carolina state workers and retirees and their families, is running about a $500 million budget deficit and is going to have to raise premiums. It's funny how no one talks about this stuff during the election. Now, to be completely fair to Brad Briner, he is the new guy on the job. The outgoing Republican state treasurer, Dale Folwell, he oversaw ballooning deficits in the health plan. But even he isn't completely to blame either. There are a lot of retirees in the health plan, and their costs keep rising. Everyone wants Ozempic drugs for weight loss now, and those are very expensive. And fundamentally, Republican lawmakers in the legislature have refused to put in the money necessary to stabilize the plan. So if they don't do that, then premiums have to rise. We have not taken down our holiday lights yet, and if you have, well, gold star for you. Stay warm out there and have a great weekend.